So in this problem, we have surds, which are these things here. And normally, if you find the answer to that in a calculator, it gives you an irrational number. So a number that doesn't stop, basically, that keeps going. Now, let's look at the first one here. So it wants us to describe the square root of 108 in the form of k root 3. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this square root of 108, and we know it's equal to k root of 3. We know this is equal to this. So the first thing we're going to do is take 108 and divide it by 3, because we know it's going to be 3 times something is 108. Now 108 divided by 3 is 36. So another way of writing square root of 108 is the square root of 36 times 3. 36 times 3 is 108. Now, another way of expressing this is root 36 times root 3. You can split the surds. Root 36 is equal to 6. So we have 6. We can't simplify that. It's an irrational number. But now we have 6 root 3. K root 3. So therefore, k is equal to 6. Now moving on to the next problem, which is B. Very similar situation. We have square root of 45 is equal to k, this time root 5. So first things first, divide 45 by 5, that gives you 9. So it's exactly the same as this. 9 times 5. Split the surds, root 9 times root 5. Root 9 is equal to 3. This stays as root 5, which is what we want because it's in the question. So therefore, in this particular case, k is equal to 3. And that's how you solve these kinds of questions. Now moving on to C. In part C, we have a fraction. 2 divided by 3 root 5 plus 7. Whenever you have a fraction like this and you're asked to describe it in this form, what we need to do is rationalize the denominator, i.e. remove the surd from the denominator, because here we have no surd in the denominator. In fact, there's no denominator at all. There could be from the a and b, but there's no surd in the denominator. We always multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. So in this particular case, the conjugate is always this with an opposite sign. So in this particular case, the conjugate is 3 root 5 minus 7. So 3 root 5 minus 7 minus 7. So the same as that, just change the sign, top and bottom. Therefore you're multiplying by 1, so you're not changing anything. Now let's go ahead and continue the multiplication. That times that is 6 root 5 minus 14, all divided by, multiply like you would normal brackets. So it's going to be that times that is going to be 9. Root 5 times root 5 is 5, so 9 times 5. Then it's going to be minus 7 times 3 root 5, which is minus 21 root 5. 7 times 3 root 5, which is plus 21 root 5. 7 times 7 with the minus is minus 49. Now, look what happens in the denominator. Minus 21 root 5 plus 21 root 5 will cancel. There's no more surds in the denominator. That's why we do this. That's going to be, put the number first, minus 14 plus 6 root 5, all divided by 9 times 5, we know is 45. 45 minus 49 is minus 4. That is the final fraction. Of course, we can split it, so we can do that divided by that and that divided by that, and therefore simplifying the fraction. Now, we know that 14 divided by 4 is 3.5. You put in a calculator, the minuses cancel, so you get 3.5 minus, because that's going to be a minus, it's going to go there, 6 divided by 4 is 1.5 root 5, and that is the final answer to this problem. The question says where a and b are rational. These two are rational numbers. Now, let's go ahead and do part D. Part D simply says expand and simplify. So it's just expanding two brackets, so multiplying straight away. 4 times 4 is 16. then you have minus 4 root 3 plus 4 root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is 3, minus 3. These two cancel again, so it's kind of like the denominator here. Similar thing, 16 minus 3 is 13. It's just a bit of practice about how to rationalize basically, but just the actual denominator example. Part E is another full question on rationalizing the denominator. Again, we want to express it in this form here. So we do as we did earlier on, which was multiply by the conjugate. So we go ahead and multiply by 3 minus root 5 divided by 3 minus root 5. You look at the denominator, you flip the sign and multiply top and bottom by the same thing. Go ahead and do the top, so it's going to be 3 minus root 5 minus 3 root 5 minus 5, all divided by 3 times 3 is 9, and again follow through with this same denominator, plus 3 root 5 minus 5. Simplify the numerator. 3 minus 5 we know is minus 2. Minus 5 minus 3 root 5 is minus 4 root 5. Treat the root 5 like an x. So minus x minus 3x is minus 4x, for example. These two cancel, that's why we do it. 9 minus 5 is 4. Simplify these fractions here. You can clearly see this is going to be minus a half. Let's put it down here. So minus 0.5. 4 over 4 cancels. So minus root 5. And that is the final solution to that problem.